I think there's a good likelihood of it being a CR again. I think part of it's just been the problem over the last almost 30 years where we haven't passed appropriations on time. And so I think it's a bad habit that we've gotten into. We're hearing some comments back and forth from some of the Democrats that, if the president's going to look at rescissions to cut out wasteful spending, that they're not going to agree to an appropriations process.
It's going to be another continuing resolution, which no one likes, military particularly, because those who are in the middle of leases and firms that are supplying not just the military. We got the Farm Bill, we've got DOD, Department of Defense. So I would assume it's going to be another CR, and I think it'll barely pass in the House, probably the Senate as well.
Lawmakers on this program this week predicting the need for a continuing resolution to keep the government funded and avoid a shutdown next month. The House is going to be back in session Tuesday. The GOP is warning Democrats may resist the GOP-led appropriations process. I want to bring in Florida Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart. He's the vice chair of the House Appropriations Committee, Congressman. So this is going to be front and center for you and your colleagues on your committee when you get back to work next week. What do you make of those comments that we're probably just going to get another CR, which is almost one of these things where you see lawmakers holding their nose and voting for it anyway?
Yeah, well, Cheryl, thanks again for the opportunity. It would be disastrous to have another continuing resolution. It means that we can't do any real changes. We can't do new starts in defense. And we're stuck with, in essence, the last Biden appropriations bill. So it would be disastrous. I think a couple of things. The Appropriations Committee, we're getting our work done. We're moving forward. We're ready, and we will be ready to negotiate with the Senate. The question is going to be what the Democrats are willing to do, because whether we like it or not, ultimately, it requires passing it in the House, negotiating with the Senate, and that requires 60 votes. So the Democrats have a voice whether we like it or not. And are they willing, and will they be willing, to negotiate in good faith? And negotiating in good faith also means negotiating with the White House.
Well, but the thing is, after the big, beautiful bill passed, and obviously extending those tax cuts was front and center, there's still a lot of fiscal hawks out there, and I'm thinking about Senator Rand Paul, for example, that Ron Johnson has made these comments that, there needs to be more cutting. That is something that you and your colleagues could be responsible for. Do you see any path forward where you're going to see some meaningful cuts to spending?
Yes. As a matter of fact, if you want spending cuts, you have to get the appropriation bills passed and negotiated. And let me just give you an example as to why I say that. The subcommittee that I chair, we actually have a reduction of 22% from the CR from last year. And pretty much every subcommittee of appropriation, except for the three that the president has asked more money for, which obviously he's asked for more money for defense. We're doing that. More money for veterans and national security and homeland security. Other than those three, all of the other subcommittees show dramatic decreases in spending. So if you want to cut spending, you have to get the appropriation bills passed. The question is, are the Democrats going to be willing to negotiate, or is the Trump syndrome so much in their head that they just can't sit down and negotiate with the Republicans? It's really going to be up to them whether they want to shut down the government or, again, keep a continuing resolution, which is really, really devastating for our country.
Well, I mean, he's still got, 130 people to be confirmed by the Senate, and they've been fighting him on that. Chuck Schumer has. So it kind of seems like the writing is on the wall, so it's going to be a fight. I want to ask you about this. The U.S. Navy reportedly sending at least 7 vessels, including 3 guided missile destroyers, to the waters off Venezuela to combat threats from Latin American drug cartels. Venezuela's defense minister announcing a significant drone deployment in response, including naval patrols along the Caribbean coast, Congressman. I want to get your reaction to this, because obviously the violence in Venezuela that we've seen has driven, in part, that mass migration that we saw towards the U.S. border under Joe Biden.
Yeah, you see, the Venezuela is not controlled by a government. It's actually been taken over by a narco cartel, El Cartel de los Soles, which is a terrorist organization. Look, President Trump is the president of peace, the president of prosperity, but also, as he's demonstrating every single day, the president that wants to keep the American people safe. And he is right to designate these cartels as terrorist organizations. The Cartel de los Soles is responsible for the death of multiple Americans. This is a president that's not willing to stand idly by while Americans are dying. And so I commend the president for his leadership, for taking a firm stand against these narco cartels. And look, let's see what the cartel in Venezuela, the leaders of that cartel, want to do. They have an opportunity still to kind of find another place to go and get the heck out of Dodge. If they don't, I think they're going to run into President Trump's resolve, his resolve to protect the American people. I commend him for his leadership. I support him. And thank God for President Trump's leadership and his courage. And he's showing it every single day.
Well, okay, along this line of this topic, President Trump's crackdown on these dangerous drug cartels, it is working. The co-founder of the Sinaloa cartel, known as El Mayo, confessing to a decades-long coordination effort with Mexican officials to smuggle drugs into the U.S. He's set to face the rest of his life now behind bars, Congressman. So, you know, if this tactic is working with these Mexican cartels, you're saying that you're hoping that that will extend into what we're seeing in Venezuela.
Well, look, I know that the president is committed to protecting the American people. Whether the cartel in Venezuela decides to, close shop and move out of there, or they decide to try to confront President Trump, it's up to them. But I will tell you, just ask, again, the Sinaloa cartel, or ask ISIS, that other terrorist group that President Trump eliminated using our brave men and women of the armed forces. Ask them if it's a good idea to confront President Trump. And I think the answer is pretty obvious. This is a president who is not willing to just sit around and wait to see what happens while Americans are dying. He is going to protect the American people, the rule of law, and doing so, while he is the president of peace, he's also the president of strength and the president of prosperity and the president that protects the American people. I could not be more proud of serving with President Trump.
Well, and certainly, that is why the trade argument with the country of Mexico, you got to remember that he's got to get the president of Mexico to come down on those cartels, the fentanyl trading. I mean, it's been a deadly scourge on our country. So I understand why he's taking the actions that he is. Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart, it's always great to see you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right. We're looking forward to next week when you get back to Washington, sir.